Hey guys, it's Emily. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make yarn pumpkins in 2 ways, and they're easy to make. Let's get on with the video. The first pumpkin I'm going to show you how to make is a chunky yarn pumpkin. What you'll need for this pumpkin is a foam pumpkin that you can get from Dollar Tree, a paper clip, scissors, an X-Acto knife, a stem, and thick yarn, because it will take you forever to get it done if you use thin yarn. You want to start off by pulling the stem off of the pumpkin. Then you want to cut a hole out of the top of the pumpkin with an X-Acto knife. You want to make the hole about 1.5 inches. Then you want to flip the pumpkin over so you see the bottom of the pumpkin, and you want to make another hole that's about the same size. When you're done making the holes, you want to dump the foam out so you don't get the foam everywhere. Now you can start putting the yarn on the pumpkin, and the first thing you want to do is that you want to cut a long piece of yarn. Then you want to stick one end of the yarn in the hole that's on the top of the pumpkin. Then you want to take the other end of the yarn and pull it through the hole on the bottom of the pumpkin, and you want to pull it through the top of the hole. You want to keep wrapping the yarn around the pumpkin until you get to the end of the yarn. And to make things easier, you can put a paper clip on the yarn so it's easier to pull the yarn through the holes. When you get to the end of the yarn, you can put the end of the yarn inside of the pumpkin. And if you want, you can wrap it around one of the bottom pieces of yarn so it stays where you want it to. Or if the yarn is long enough to be on the side, you can wrap the yarn around one or more pieces of yarn that's on the side of the pumpkin so the yarn is not wasted. Now you just want to continue with the same steps until the pumpkin is completely covered. When you're completely done wrapping the yarn on the pumpkin, and if you decided to wrap the end of the yarn on the side of the pumpkin, you want to trim off the excess yarn. The last thing you want to do is that you want to put a branch or something else into the top of the pumpkin to make a stem, and you're all done. The next pumpkin I'm going to show you how to make is a braided pumpkin. What you'll need for this pumpkin is yarn, scissors, an X-Acto knife, a stem, and a foam pumpkin that you can get from Dollar Tree. The first thing you want to do is that you want to take the stem out of the pumpkin, and then you want to cut a hole out of the top of the pumpkin with an X-Acto knife. You want to make this hole about 1.5 inches. The next thing you want to do is that you want to cut 9 pieces of yarn that measures about 30 inches. When you're done cutting the yarn, you want to tie the ends together in a knot. Now to make the braid, you want to either tape the knotted end down, or you can put it on a clipboard so it stays in place. Then you want to separate the yarn in groups of 3, so you'll have 3 strands to braid, and then you want to braid it. When you get to the end of the braid, you want to tie it into a knot. Then you want to repeat the same steps to make more braids. I made about 20 braids, but depending on the yarn you used, you may need to make more or less. When you're done making the braids, you start putting the braids on the pumpkin. You want to do this by laying out a braid and putting the pumpkin in the middle of it. Then you want to put the ends of the braid in the hole. For the next braid, you want to turn the pumpkin before putting the braid on the pumpkin, because it will be harder for the braids to fall off of the pumpkin. When you have the second braid on the pumpkin, you want to follow the same steps until you have the pumpkin covered. And make sure you keep rotating the pumpkin before you put the ends of the braids in the hole of the pumpkin. After you're done putting the yarn on the pumpkin, you can carefully move the yarn on the bottom of the pumpkin so it can sit the way you want it to. Then you want to put a branch or something else into the top of the pumpkin to make a stem, and you're all done. And that's how you make these pumpkins. In the comments down below, let me know what you think about these pumpkins, and if you like this video, subscribe to see more videos. I will see you in the next video. Bye!